Yo, it is me, Asti, and today I'm starting my brand new series where I go through and grade every single NFL team's draft. And today we're starting with the NFC South. For those of you that don't know, the NFC South is the Saints, Buccaneers, Panthers, and Falcons. But before we get into it, make sure to hit that like button if you like this video, as well as considering hitting that subscribe button. I'm on my way to 1K. Every day I get a few more subs. I'm gonna get to 1K here soon, so if you want to be a part of that, make sure to hit that button. But anyways, let's get right into this video. It's gonna be a good one. Let's go. All right, so I'm gonna start with the New Orleans Saints here. Now, the Saints had a weird draft in my opinion. Their first round pick, they picked Peyton Turner, defensive end from Houston. A lot of people did not like this pick. A lot of people were like, who is this guy? I don't know anything about him, therefore it's a terrible pick.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
I'm kind of on the fence with it still. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I do think it was sort of a little bit of a reach, but I mean, it does fit a need for the Saints. It's just, He's not going to start right away because they have Cameron Jordan and Marcus Davenport still. So I don't really know how well this pick is going to be for them because the guy's not going to start right away. And then the second round, they took Pete Warner, linebacker from Ohio State. I really like this pick. I think he's a good player. I think he'll fit in the Saints system. Not sure right away, but I think he does make an impact eventually this season. Really solid pick in the second. And then the third, Paulson Adebo, cornerback from Stanford. Really like this pick too because the Saints needed the cornerback very badly and they didn't get him in the first or second round. And so Paulson Adebo here in the third, I think is pretty good value. And I think he'll be the cornerback number 3 for the New Orleans. In the fourth round, they took Ian Book from Notre Dame. Now, I don't really think they needed the quarterback. They already have Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. And there's some controversy already there to see who's going to start. I don't really know why they'd throw another guy in that ring to make it like a three-way race. I don't understand that. Maybe they want to develop him and let one of those other quarterbacks go a year or two down the line, but I don't really understand picking a QB3 here in the fourth, especially Ian Book. No offense to Ian Book, but I just had a few quarterbacks better than him, and so I didn't really get this pick. I didn't really like this pick. And then in the sixth, they took Landon Young, offensive tackle from Kentucky, who's just tackle depth. I don't hate it. It's just it's an alright pick. And then in the seventh, they took K'Wan Baker, wide receiver from South Alabama. Now, that's an okay pick in my opinion. He has a decent shot at becoming something. I think wide receiver was a bigger need for them than just taking a guy in the 7th round, but I mean, they do pick one here. I don't think he'll impact the team very much since he is a 7th round pick. I don't really think he'll play a whole lot in the beginning. Maybe down the line he will, but overall, I didn't particularly like the Saints draft a whole lot. I think they needed wide receiver, tight end, and cornerback, and they only picked one of those with a high pick. Obviously, they picked Baker in the 7th, but how much is a 7th rounder going to impact your football team? But anyways, I give them a C+, just an okay, not the best, not the worst. So yeah. Now the Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I gave them a C-. I might be a little harsh on them with the C-, but I didn't like a whole lot of their picks, so C- is where it's at for me. But they took Joe Tryon in the first. I think it was a little bit of a reach. I do like Tryon quite a bit, but he's not going to play right away. He's going to be JPP's replacement for when he retires or just leaves. I just kind of like the pick. It's all right. And then in the second, they took Kyle Trask. Now, Kyle Trask was not a good pick in my opinion. I absolutely hated that pick. He was a mega reach. I did not think he would go this soon at all. There was a lot of better quarterbacks better than him in the draft in my opinion. But I see what they were trying to do. I see they were trying to get a guy to come behind Brady and like develop and learn from him. I just don't think Kyle Trask is the type of guy to do it. And then the third, Robert Hainsey from Notre Dame. Decent pick here. I liked him more than their 2nd round pick. I think he's just depth. He's a versatile tackle or guard, which is good. And then the fourth, they took Jalen Darden from North Texas. He is going to be more depth at wide receiver, but I don't think they need the depth. They have Mike Evans, they have Antonio Brown, they got Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, and they picked Tyler Johnson last year. So I don't think Jalen Darden's going to make an impact very much at all. At best, he's wide receiver 6, and I really don't think that's a good pick, picking a 6th wide receiver in the 4th round. But the Bucs are good. They have the best roster in the NFL, so just depth anywhere they can get it, I guess. In the 5th round, they took KJ Britt from Auburn. Now, I think he's just going to be a backup to Levante David, which, I mean, you do need depth. And so a backup for a stud is pretty decent for the Buccaneers. Like I said, they just have great players already. But then their next 2 picks in the 7th, more depth picks, which, I mean, you need, but they're not going to make an impact very much. It's not like I hate the players or anything. It's just I didn't really like them particularly a lot. Same with like almost all these players. I didn't really love a guy that they picked. Joe Tryon would be my best one, but they did take him in the 1st, so that's why they have a C- for me. They didn't take a lot of guys that I really loved, and I think they took a really bad pick with Kyle Trask. I'm just not high on Kyle Trask at all, but I mean, they weren't going to draft a starter anyways. Their roster's already the best, so it is what it is, C-.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Now the Atlanta Falcons, I gave them a B. Their first pick, Kyle Pitts. I love Kyle Pitts. I think this was a great pick for them. Kyle Pitts is going to be a stud in the NFL, and I think it makes the Atlanta offense just way more dangerous, and it might be even prolonging Matt Ryan's career with that pick. We'll see, but I'm kind of glad they didn't take a quarterback yet. I think Matt Ryan might have a little bit left in him, so they still might be in win-now mode. Kyle Pitts is a good win-now mode pick. So, and then in the 2nd round, they took Richie Grant, safety from UCF. I really like Richie Grant too. It's just I think there were better safeties out there, namely Trayvon Merrick. But Richie Grant will start for them since they lost Keanu Neal. I think getting a start in the 2nd round is great. In the 3rd, they took Jalen Mayfield, tackle from Michigan. I'm pretty high on Jalen Mayfield as well. I really like Jalen Mayfield. I thought he was borderline 1st-round talent, if not 2nd, and they get him in the 3rd, which is great value in my opinion. I don't think he starts right away. Maybe if a guy gets injured, he'll come in and he'll do well, but I think to start off, he'll just be a backup tackle for them, which is pretty solid in the 3rd round. And then in the 4th, they took Darren Hall, cornerback. They need cornerback the worst. Their defense was terrible against the pass last year, just absolutely trash. They do take a lot of defensive players, and I think that's what they needed, so that did help their grade a little bit, even though these guys aren't big-name guys or guys that like are studs, in my opinion. But Darren Hall, I think he's all right. I think he was a little bit of a reach with him, but I think he'll be cornerback 5 or 6 for them right away, so that's solid. Their other 4th-round pick, Drew Dahlman, center from Stanford. I think he could possibly be a steal in this draft. I think he's not going to start right away, though. I think he'll be solid depth for guard or center this coming year, and I think he's a pretty solid player, and a few years down the line, I think he could be an all-pro type guy at center for the Falcons. Their first 5th-round pick, Taquan Graham, Texas. I didn't really like this pick a whole lot, if I'm being honest. I don't think they needed defensive tackle much. I mean, they do need defense all around, but I think there were other players better than Graham at this point in the draft. And at 182, they took this guy. I'm going to get his name right first try. Here we go. Adetokunbo Ogunagi. Sure, we'll go with that.
What did he say?
Defensive end from Notre Dame. Sorry if I got your name wrong, guy, but that's my best shot. I think he could end up rotating in for them, which is pretty good from a 5th-round pick. I think their defense is just not good, and the more defensive players they pick, the more their defense gets better. And so I think this was about the right value for him. They need defense, and he helps a little bit here. Then the pick right after that, Avery Williams, cornerback from Boise State. Just more cornerbacks can't hurt. I think he was a little bit of a reach, but I think he could be the returner next year, but he is kind of small, so there's a negative there. And then their last pick in the 6th round, Frank Darby, wide receiver from Arizona State. I'm all right with this pick. It's decent value. He's a very explosive guy, kind of like a Calvin Ridley, just to compare it to somebody that's already on the team. But he'll probably play more in 2022 more than in 2021. I just think he's going to be buried down the depth chart, even though I do like Frank Darby a decent bit. But I think I liked about half of these picks for the Falcons overall. They got some impact players, but I think they could have done a little better, so that's why it's at B. Now on to the Carolina Panthers. I think the Panthers killed this draft. I think they had the best draft out of all the teams, and so they get an A+ from me. In the 1st round, they took J.C. Horn, my cornerback 1. Must have been their cornerback 1 as well. I love J.C. Horn. I think he could be their best cornerback by the end of the year for the Panthers. Obviously, he's going to start right away. I think him and Jeremy Chin are going to start like a little bit of a duo there for the Panthers. I think their defense is going to turn around really quick. And then in the 2nd, they took Terrace Marshall, wide receiver from LSU. I think since they lost Curtis Samuel, he fits right in where Samuel played. I think he's a great value in the 2nd. He was my wide receiver number 6. I think he's just an overall good fit with the Panthers, and it was a steal. I think he should have been in the 1st round, in my opinion. In the 3rd round, they took Brady Christensen, an athletic tackle from BYU. I really like him. I think he could beat out Cam Irving for the starting spot. I think he'll contribute later on if he does beat Cam Irving out. We'll see. Their other third-round pick, they took Tommy Tremble. My tight end 4, I think he's great value. I think he could start right away as well. And then in the 4th, they took Juba Hubbard, who is going to be RB2. Obviously, he's not going to start over McCaffrey, but I'm really high on Juba Hubbard as well. He was my running back 5, and so I think here in the 4th round, I think it's great value. And then in the 5th, Davion Nixon, steal the draft. I said earlier in the previous video, if you saw it, but absolute steal the draft. Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, just a stud you get in the 5th round. I absolutely love that pick for the Panthers. Big Davion Nixon fan, obviously. And in the 5th, they took Keith Taylor, solid cornerback depth. Then in the 6th, I think they hit on all 3 of their picks. Deontay Brown, I think, could be the steal of the draft as well. He was in my top 100 prospects. Deontay Brown, really, really solid guard. Who could even start for them, maybe. And then Shi Smith, I really like Shi Smith too. I think he could be their wide receiver 4 or 5 right away. And they got him at a good value here in the 6th round. And they need the wide receiver depth behind Terrence Marshall and the other receivers they already have. So, great pick. And then they took Thomas Fletcher. He may be a long snapper, but I think he's going to start. And when you draft long snappers, they tend to just start for like 20 years, which is solid for them in the 6th round. I think he has great potential with them, and everyone needs a long snapper. So, in the 7th, Phil Hopkins. Don't really know much about him. He's just a depth pick, that defensive tackle. He's not going to play over Davion Nixon, so I can't really fault them with their 7th round picks, because who is going to really have a stud 7th round pick? But Panthers, A+ for me. Absolutely loved almost every single one of their picks. Got great value at almost all their picks, so A+. So yeah, guys, that was it. That was me grading the NFC South. My next video should be the NFC East. If you don't want to miss that video, make sure to hit the notification bell so it notifies you when I release that video. Should be coming up here soon in a few days. I'm going to try to grind out a ton of these videos for y'all this week, so if you're down for that, hit the subscribe button as well. Hit the like button if you like this video. Besides that, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.